Hey everyone, thanks for joining us at another Ready Set Sunday. I am super excited that you're here. I am getting used to a new setup, as you can see, and so you can definitely join us in those different ways. And so please let us know that you're here by logging on, chatting, uh, saying hello, and all those different things. Definitely want to see that you're here. One of the things is my fiance and partner in crime, Charles, is feeling under the weather tonight, so he will not be with us. But we're gonna wish him well, and we're gonna charge on anyway. But tonight we are going to talk about something that I think was one of my soapboxes. And this is the constant drain of back to school costs and fundraisers and all of those kind of things. So if you're like me and supply lists and spirit shirts and fundraisers and field trips and book fairs and on and on and on, and sometimes it feels like our kids are bringing home bills, really. More bills and expenses than homework. If you've ever felt like that, give me an emoji. Put it in the chat. Maybe it's an angry emoji. Maybe it's a exhausted emoji. But drop an emoji in the chat if that's something for you. Um, Now, this week's word, and if you're part of our newsletter list, you saw our Ready Set Sunday newsletter, and we would love for you to be part of that. If you want more or want to join us in that weekly kind of motivation, shoot us a message and we'll get you added. But this week's focus word and empowering word of the week is permission. And so, what I want you to hear tonight is that you have permission. You have permission to plan, you have permission to protect your budget, and you have permission, most of all, to say no. And sometimes I feel like that's the hardest permission of all. And so I'll be honest with you. As the mom of this delightful Brady Bunch, sometimes it's hard to say no because I want them to have every spirit shirt and I want them to have everything. But in the beginning, I probably said yes to more things than I should have, and it busted the budget. Charles and I had a lot of conversations about that. And so we really had to talk about what do we want to say yes to. And so what we realized is that every time we said yes to an unplanned expense, it was actually saying no to something else in our budget. Because, you only have so much resource. And so, if you're saying yes to this, it's got to come from somewhere else. And so, what you're really doing is you're making a choice, whether you know it or not. And so, you have permission to make those choices proactively. And so, what we're kind of encouraging you to do is give yourself permission to make those choices and say no. Maybe say no now so that you can say yes later. And when we kind of got that mindset in our minds, it kind of changed everything because we can say no to the $15 shirt here and you know, this and that there, but we can say yes to maybe taking our family on a fun spring break trip. And so, that helped us make those choices kind of proactively. Yes, it's hard, and yes, our teenagers don't like it when we say no, but when you share what you are saying yes to, it helps at least bring a little more understanding into why you're saying no. Now, there are kind of three things that you can do to help identify those expenses ahead of time. One of the things that we do is pull out that school schedule ahead of time. There are kind of points in the year where you will know that it's going to be more expensive than others. Party time, if you have kids in elementary school, party time of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's, those are typical party times of the year where you'll have to get extra treats and those kind of things. Picture time of year, sports trips, book fair. Don't even get me started about book fair. Love books. We'll have another conversation about book fair. But when you can see it coming, then you won't be as surprised. So help use that calendar and kind of that past experience of when things happen seasonally to kind of help you out. Now, the other thing that you can kind of do, and we've begun to do in our house, is build a little savings fund or what we call a sinking fund and put $5 or $10 away, maybe with every paycheck or maybe with every month. So when that $20 field trip fee comes up, you're not pulling it out of your regular budget. You're pulling it out of this little savings account that you've set up for those school incidentals. And so think of it as kind of a school activity jar. It doesn't have to be big, but it will help you kind of offset those, kind of things that make the budget feel a little leaky or make the budget feel a little busted. And then, ultimately, we have to learn how to say no kindly. There are so many asks throughout the year. And honestly, sometimes they come with a lot of pressure. But Jimmy's doing it. But Jimmy's mom said, but Sally, but my whole class, mom. And so you not only do you have to explain the no to your kid, but you also have to politely kind of communicate that to the class or the teacher or even the school sometimes. And so, coming up with a go-to phrase, no, we're not participating at this time. Thanks for asking. Or no, this isn't aligned with our goals. Or no, thank you. We have other, big things we're planning for. Just kind of keep it short and guilt-free. And honestly, you have to breathe deep and know that saying no does not make you a bad parent. Let me say that again. Saying no does not make you a bad parent. And so, in fact, sometimes it makes you the wisest parent in the room. So, um, you're actually teaching your kids to be healthy with money when you don't say yes to every single thing. So model that behavior for them, help you, have those boundaries around your own money and around your own goals, and you can get that as well. Now, when you do this, it's going to take a minute for it to feel comfortable. It's going to feel really awkward at first because, you're not used to saying no, and it's going to kind of be a new muscle that you're exercising. And so you might have to have a little mantra in your head that's, helps you build that confidence and releases that guilt. And so, maybe it's something like, I give myself permission to say no. This protects my peace. This protects my budget. And, you can just find yourself saying that. Might seem a little silly at first, but really we've got to replace the narrative that, oh gosh, I'm not doing enough, or I can't do enough, or this is bad. So we've got to reinforce ourselves, because nobody is going to do that for us, that when we say no, that we are making wise choices for ourselves and for our family. Okay, so this week, your Ready Set Sunday and your empowered step is to think about where you can make a plan using the school calendar, maybe set aside some of those dollars, maybe in a little school jar sinky fund, and just give yourself permission. Permission is the word of the week, to say no when you need to. Now, we would love to see and hear how you are giving yourself permission throughout the week. So if you're watching this live, or you watch this later, drop us a comment on what you're doing Trust me, you are doing better than you think, and you are making great progress. We are always here for you to encourage and empower you, and we can't wait to see you next Sunday at Ready Set Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great week.